Let me explain. Oh Lord, let me explain what we've done here. Hester Mundus was to be with us. She was the woman who raised a chimp in her apartment, but the chimp got to goofing around with some matches at home and burned it down. No, that's not true. We're running a little late on time, so we felt rather than deprive her of a full segment, we would just move right along. And Mr. Greenfield was here earlier, and we were talking about cable TV when we left. Let me ask you about the impact of sports on television. Too much? Not enough?
I'm a sports junkie. What I resent is what has come to be called trash sports, the battle of network stenographers with wet T-shirts. This is too much of a good thing, or in that case, much too much of a terrible thing. I have to tell you this because you asked me to be totally honest. This network has a prime time show on in the fall called the Thursday Games. The pilot featured the Battle of the Ballroom Bouncers. Laurence Olivier would be turning in his grave if he were dead. Let me put it that way.
You know, there is a whole generation of people, I'm guessing now, that may not understand what television was when it first came on. We've come a long way from that. We've come away from actual pure television, haven't we?
Well, it used to be that you could put on anything. Wrestling, roller derby, boxing, old Hopalong Cassidy movies. Because for the first generation of television watchers, of which I am one, the fact that something in your living room on a screen was moving was magic.
Yes.
One would like to think that the audiences now will take a higher level of shows. They won't be content just to see things move, although given some of the programs you wonder what the networks are thinking of.
It's tough now to, like you mentioned, anything that would light up the screen would mesmerize people, but we have now virtually seen everything. We've seen people assassinated, killed on television.
You're setting me up for a surprise?
Yes, Jeff, if you'll slip on the blindfold.
This was not in the contract.
Anyway.
No, but you're driving, I think, at a valid point, and it's one I wish the networks would keep in mind. Most of us have grown up with television. We've lived with it for 30 years. We are more adult, I think, about how we approach it. I mean, it used to be you couldn't say the name of another network on one network. You know, remember that was like a magic totem. We'd all go up in a puff of smoke. But I like to think audiences are hungry for, I don't mean Shakespeare and ballet, but something with some weight to it.
What about the, now this network has removed some game shows.
Yes.
But everything seems to come in cycles, and they have been a mainstay of television since its beginning.
That's right. They're cheap. And if you can get an audience hooked on them, you make a lot of money. It helps not to give the answers in advance, as some people learned about 25 years ago. But, yeah, they are. But are you worried about, I mean, is this...
No, I just find it interesting that everything is pretty much in cycles. Westerns for a while were the mainstay, and now they may be coming back.
Variety shows used to be big extravaganzas with the women in peacock feathers and stuff, and now this is the kind of show that does variety. It's more intimate, it's more suited to television. You're supposed to try to get an agreeable, likable fellow as host.
And I'll do until we get one, believe me. We have, what, about a minute and a half or so here? Go ahead, Jeff. We know now that you like the set.
I like the set. The breakfast in the green room was extraordinary. Much better than normal.
Good. What did we have in there today?
A little ethnically mixed. Some croissants, some bagels. It was a nice, unsegmented thing. It's the first time I've ever heard a newsman get applauded. I mean,
isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Because you've got the best newsman in the business, or one of them in Ed Newman. But as I said, David, in reviewing a show such as this, and one never reviews the first show, because there are always a few bumps and things like that, I hate to put it this way, but the entire weight of whether this show succeeds is on your shoulders. If they like you, they will like the show. If they don't like you, they won't like the show. Now, you're already way ahead of Regis Philbin in my book. So, you know. And you remember a year ago, this network did a show called America Alive, which wasn't. Didn't last.
I have a picture of the host of that show, if you can...
Well...
there he was.
So the question is, I mean, it's a little bit awkward to say whether one finds you likable, engaging, or a terrible person.
Well, just let me say that I think the world of you, Jeff.
You've read my book. I always suggest flattery is the best way for a politician to handle the press. The idea that 90 minutes of live television in the middle of the day is coming out from New York with, I think, an effort at being a mixture of entertainment and information is a terrific thing. But nobody should review a show after the first show. I mean, I've had a good time. You know,
That's good. As long
time
as,
just swept by.
as long as you've had a good time, that's nice. The name of your book, again, it's taken away.
Playing to Win. Pretend I'm holding it up.
Playing to Win. It actually comes in notebook form for those of you who...
Loose leaf. I can keep changing the opinion. But there is one in 10 seconds. If you believe your audience is smart enough to handle humor, information with that in mind, I think whether that works or not, the audience will be enormously grateful. And I think you got a better shot at working if you assume these people are smart and reasonably thoughtful and can take a little controversy now and then instead of oatmeal.
Okay, terrific. I appreciate that. Jeff Greenfield, ladies and gentlemen. We have got to go to a commercial. We'll be right back.